Into the program, we talked about whether this was a uniting speech or a dividing speech, this inaugural address. Some of the headlines that we were watching this morning, the Daily News saying, let's go, Obama's rallying call for an ambitious second term. And then if you look at USA Today, pretty darn clear, our journey is not complete. One of the lines he repeated a few times. The New York Times, Obama offers liberal vision. We must act. Beautiful picture of the first couple on the front during the parade route. And then the Wall Street Journal, Obama vows aggressive agenda. So a couple of the headlines from the main papers, but then the New York Post chose to go with something completely different. Beyonce and Jay-Z, the first couple, well, almost. And take a look over here, right here. Do you recognize that guy? That's Congressman Pete King from New York, snapping a shot at Jay-Z and Beyonce. What a front row seat to that little bit of fun. And the New York Republican is kind enough to join me right now live. And there's your picture. You got the picture. You snapped it, and it ain't bad.
Actually, I'm a very talented guy, but more importantly, it's a great moment for Beyonce to be seen with me. I mean, her career is definitely going to take off. That's what she was waiting for all these years.
Oh, Pete King, I was going to say, I like your picture, but don't give up your day job. You're a fine congressman. I'm not so sure about photography. Let me get to the business here with you. There were a couple of things that were said after the president's speech. Some people call this a very forceful and liberal inaugural address, and some of your fellow Republicans said this. And we'll start with John McCain. He said that he would have liked to hear more outreach, while Ohio Republican Rob Portman tweeted this: my disappointment was that in the speech, I think the president missed an opportunity to talk about where we can find common ground. And then Steve King, the Republican from Iowa, tweeted this: awesome and shockingly liberal address, an epic realignment. So some people said not at all. Other people said what I just read. What's your take?
Well, the president won the election, so he's certainly entitled to pursue his agenda. I thought it would have been more effective, though, if he had spoken more in thematic terms. By being as precise as he was really laying out a liberal agenda, which is usually what's done in the State of the Union. Going back to Ronald Reagan's first address, he was saying that, government is not the solution, it's the problem. Those are general statements. I thought, the way he got specific yesterday made it more of a, again, almost a campaign type address. I mean, parts of it were very good. He's an excellent speaker, obviously. But even, for instance, the way he was sort of distinguishing the issues, implying that Democrats care more about disabled kids than Republicans do, or he's not going to turn his back on the sick elderly. Well, no one wants to do any of those things. So I thought he could have found some way to be more constructive. Maybe he felt that, the time for that is gone. But he's going to have a State of the Union speech coming up, I guess, on February 12th. That's where he can really lay out his agenda. I thought yesterday, he missed an opportunity. I'm not as critical as some of the others may be, but I think it would have been better for him if he had tried to reach out a bit more.
So, I guess if the president thought that he was giving an address that could look forward to changing the partisanship that is just paralyzing Washington, it didn't take but a minute for the tweets to come out with a completely different perspective. What else could the president have said? And listen, I'll tell you, I didn't do the counting myself, so I'm going to credit USA Today for this, but he said the words, our journey is not complete, 5 times. He said, we the people 5 times. He said the word together 7 times. What should he have done differently that would have assuaged the kinds of tweets that we saw right afterwards?
I think he should have done more to say there's honest disagreement. There's honest disagreement. We have strong views. Let's try to find more of a common ground. He didn't really acknowledge the honest disagreement. It was somehow there's the voice of reason on his side and there's the shrill cries on the other side. So I think he should have gone more to say, hey, there's people who honestly disagree with me. Now, there's some people who are never going to agree with him. But I think he would have made more progress if he had acknowledged, again, the honest disagreements, if he had even perhaps mentioned John Boehner's name or Mitch McConnell's name, the way President George H.W. Bush did with Speaker Jim Wright back in 1989. It's just a gesture on a day which is more of a unifying day. You can still make your case, but do it in a more magnanimous way. But again, he won the election. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Congressman, that sometimes I wonder if words matter at all at this point, given the climate in Washington D.C. And I only say this because I'm trying to at the same time look at the criticism of the exact same speech. The conservative group Americans for Prosperity called this a harshly ideological, aggressively partisan speech, more appropriate for the campaign trail. His address reads like a liberal laundry list. While at the same time, Scott Peters, Democrat from California, said, this is a call to action and a reminder that we have the ability to do a lot if we work together. Bernie Sanders saying it's inspiring in its basic theme that we're in this together. I don't get it. I just don't get it, how you people who all do the same job, I understand partisanship. I just don't understand hyper-partisanship.
Yeah, well, there's really no place for hyper-partisanship, but there are real, honest divisions. The country is divided. I mean, even though the president won a big victory, he still only got 52% of the vote. The Republicans still kept the House. So there is still a divided country. And again, I think if he could try to find the common ground, listen, there's some people who are never going to listen to him, but if he wants to get the people on the side to bring pressure on Congress, I think if he showed more of a sense of outreach, I think that would have brought more people over to his side, except those who are watching and who disagreed with him will still disagree. But if he had, again, I think I hate to use the term the olive branch, it may have, I'm not saying it's going to win over the partisans in Congress, but it could win over some of their supporters or some of the people out there who are more independent-minded, who could bring pressure on their representatives on both sides. Like, for instance, I thought he should have done more to emphasize that he was willing to make some sacrifices on his side when it comes to entitlements. Because if we are going to have any progress, Republicans are going to have to move on our issues, but also the president is going to have to move on the issue of entitlements on Medicare and Social Security. And again, he really, if anything, just seems to dig in hard defending those programs as they are. Now, that was the impression he gave. Now, maybe he's willing to make concessions, but it would have been helpful, I think, if he had indicated that willingness up front.
It's always good to hear from you, and I have a feeling with the big decisions that lay ahead just in the next couple of months, Congressman, that you and I will be talking again. Thank you very much for your time.
And actually, if you're lucky, I'll take a picture of you.
Just there's this little thing called focus. I just want to let you know in advance. Just hit that thing first. Pete, thank you.
I got you. Okay.
I want to take about. He's great. He's just so funny. And speaking of the fun, this is a great opportunity to look backwards a little bit at the fun moments from yesterday's celebration. You might have caught a lot of it.